Hey folks, my name's Chris Wessel. Today we're going to be tying a pattern called the Hawg Leg. Now this pattern is a top water pattern that it's kind of teetering pretty far past fly tying. It's all synthetic material, but it is cast with a fly rod and apparently is an amazing top water pattern for predatory species and a lot of different species. I took a lot of inspiration on this pattern from a gentleman in Florida named Drew Chicone, and I also had a lot of help with it from another gentleman named Eric Spicer that works with Saltwater Edge. Yeah, it should be interesting. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so today we are going to start off with some 55 millimeter partridge shanks. I've been tying these patterns both on the 55s and 85s for a larger one. But for today's purpose, I think we'll just do the smaller. So we're going to put in our side that has the shorter end here. And we are going to be using the Textreme Power Thread today. And I'm going to use the 100 denier for that. Guys, I know Textreme's a pretty popular company, but I know that a lot of people still hasn't tried some of their products. If you get a chance, if you're looking for an amazing thread, I strongly recommend this power thread that they have. This stuff is just, it's unbelievable. All right, so we have this started. We're going to be using the 1/2 inch body tubing by Blaine Chocolate. This stuff it's really the only stuff I know of for this pattern, but I do have some stuff ordered that I've seen online. It's for a different use. It's a craft use, and I'm going to try that out, so I'll let you know. So when we're preparing this stuff, as you can see, like this is like a flex tubing, and anybody who's tried this stuff knows exactly how it works. But the way I size it up on this pattern is I go from one end and I come to the back and I give myself some room. So I'll probably cut right about here. And this stuff can be kind of hard to cut. So I just use larger pair of Shore scissors that I got here that I normally don't use for precision work necessarily. I will say one thing, that if you're using this stuff, you need to look at burning the edge as soon as you cut, because I was kind of a newbie to this stuff, and I just started messing around with it before I burnt the end, and when it decides to come apart, there's no stopping it. Like it's a piece totally ruined. There's nothing you can do. So you burn the piece you're about to use, and you go on what's left and burn that as well. And this just keeps it all from unraveling. Very important to do. All right, so we have our piece of tubing here, the body tubing. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take this out. And basically, I'm just going to put that in there. I'm going to pinch that with my fingers. Now, this is a bit awkward, but we then do our wraps in hand, like so. And you're just making, like, again, sorry, I gotta say it again, this power thread is so amazing. It's thin, and I can just reeve on this stuff. So we're just making sure that that body tubing is clinched down around the shank. And I'm just going to put that here to hold on to that now for a second. So the next thing we got to do, this is not fly tying, I don't think, but so I don't really know how to pronounce this company's name. I know they're super popular. Feel free to tell me if I'm doing it wrong or not in the comments. But the Upavon, they sell a drill bit for high density foam to make cylinders. So we were using 1/2 inch body tubing, and now we're going to use a 1/2 inch drill bit. I'm going to get that in my drill. That does not sound good. All right. So that's it. We got that in there. As you can see, it's a hollow tube with a couple windows on the side. We're going to use our Upavon high density foam blocks. This stuff's super cool. You can see I've already been taking a few out. I know with this size shank, I'm going to need 2 of these. So you just try to get it really close to the other one that you had. And slowly put it through. And then you're left with this. And you just use that window to knock that out. And you got a perfect little tube. So we're going to need another one of those. And there we go. We got 2. So the next process in this is that we are going to need to make a center in these cylinders. And the way that I seen done in a magazine was that bodkin was heated up like so. Get it nice and hot. Doesn't have to be like red hot. And we take our tube and try to eyeball the center. I get it in so far and just kind of twist it around a bit to make sure I am in the center. Oh, that's pretty good, yeah. And then just slide that back and forth. And it gives you a little burnt out center that should slide nicely over our shank. We got to do that with both. So we heat up the bodkin again. Inhale some probably pretty awesome fumes. And we're just going for the center, which, wow, that's probably the first time that's happened to me since I've been tying these. All right, so we have 2 cylinders with the middles burnt out on them. Our next step is we got to get these cylinders inside of here. Before I do that, what I want to do is make sure this is all secured up here. And I'm just using a Loctite glue. I really like this stuff. And I'd put a little dab on that. And my wraps are backwards because, as you know, this was the other way. But I can deal. Now, really, I would have liked to have gotten this closer to the head. But it's not the end of the world. I could pull it up a little bit there. And I am just going to, just switch that thread wrap over so I can wrap it the right way. And just going to put some here. And I'm just doing a couple hand knots there. And I'm going to make sure that they kind of cinch up over where I had that super glue in. I can feel it all over my fingers, so we know I'm in the right spot. Come on. Well, that's garbage. All right. That's all right. I'm good. All right. So now we need to remove this again. And basically, I'm going to hold it from this end. I'm going to come in and I'm going to put the back end of this into where we burned out. And it should naturally find its way into the back, like so. So what I like to do now, because this is like I don't want a segmented body on this, so I'm just going to put a little bit more of this Loctite here. And that'll just make sure that these kind of stay together. They're not moving around too much. Now, the guys that showed me, or I got a little bit of inspiration on to tie these, they're probably, if you guys are watching this, I apologize, because I know I'm not tying it as good as you guys. This guy, Drew Chicone, I believe his last name is in Florida, man. This guy's a wizard with these. And Eric Spicer over, I believe it's in Rhode Island, is with Saltwater Edge. He seems like a pretty knowledgeable dude on this stuff. So I'm just going to get my thread back on there. Again, we're using the Textreme Power Thread 100 denier. You know what I'm trying to say. And we're just putting a thread base down there. Really, a thread base even underneath these would have been nice, and I could even have put a bit of Loctite there. And I'm going to come through right to where it starts coming up into that hoop. So now, what we got to do is we got to get this body to come over this, and then we got to secure this in the back. Let's see. I need to tie this off is what I need to do. Sorry. I don't even know why really I had to put that on there. So as you can see, I am extremely new to tying these. All right. So again, we're trying to bring this tubing over this body, and we got to try to do it in a way that it works out like kind of tight onto these cylinders, and then you'll get a natural taper in the back where it's going to be tied in. So all we do is we're pushing until it expands like so, and then we're bringing it over itself, and we're going to work that tubing over the body. And as we're doing that, we're trying to keep these cylinders in. I could have cut a lot less tubing on this. That's all right. That's a bit wobbly looking in the body, but I'll try to, because you can just kind of work that down and then let the slack off, and it should tighten up a tiny bit. All right. Now we're going to take our thread again. And before you did this, you could also add a few feathers inside of here, and then you'll have something covering over your hook. I didn't want to do that today because I just kind of wanted to go over this method. So again, I'm using the same, oh, my voice is going everywhere. I'm using the same thread, and we're just making really tight wraps. Cut off that excess thread there. The thing that's kind of nice about this too is that water, I haven't fished these yet, so I'm just kind of going on theory here, but water's going to come in here and it'll go out just as quick, just where it's nice, like porous material. So lots of rooms for water to come in and leave again. This one's a bit of a wobbly one. I'm not overly happy with how much I have bulked up at the front here. It's a bit bumpy looking. Hopefully you'll just be stripping it fast enough that fish don't really notice that part. Maybe they'll like it. So I came in with a couple knots there, and I'm gonna just take that off. Really, I should have put a bit of crazy glue on this before I did some wraps, but I beg your forgiveness. This is my first video in probably a year. Guys, I've been super busy, so I apologize. I'm going to try to do a few now. I finally had some time freed up. So, oh yeah, we got some bulges there. But you can work and play around with that. All right. So our next move now is we're going to take our scissors and we're going to start cutting along here as close as we can get to that thread. And we'll take care of the rest of it after that with a lighter. I also had some mishaps during that process too. Stuff is hard to cut. It's really thick, which is the nice part about it because it should be super durable. And we're just rotating the vise if you have a rotary vise and trying to grab this stuff as we go around. I've also seen people add, before they tied this or rolled the body over, as they were coming down here, they threw in a couple rattle mechanisms, so you get the rattle noise as you're using them. I live in Atlantic Canada, don't usually use anything with a rattle, so I don't have any here. And I am all out of split rings as well, so I won't be finishing this off with a hook, but you guys know how to use split rings, so you don't need me to show you that part. And if you don't, there's tons of videos. All right, so we've gotten this far. What I want to do now is I want to protect that thread actually, because I am not sure. I'm just going to use a bit of UV. It's just solar res hard, but I don't want. I'm about to use a lighter on this, and I don't need that messing up my thread wraps and that blowing apart, because it's not going to be pretty. So I'm just a bit of solar res, work it around, make sure you get it all over your thread, protect that. Another cool thing is this body tubing comes in a ton of different colors. You can get, I tied this one with some different foam in the middle. That's a larger, that's an 85 there. And we're just going to cure that up a little bit. That's good. I'll put it out in the sun for a few hours too. So I'm going to take this out now. And all we're going to do is take a lighter. And we're just going to hit that, not like really aggressively, guys. Just be patient and work it down. But it's kind of cool too, because what I notice is you're heating up the shank, and it's kind of getting that plastic on that's connected with it under the thread wraps to kind of weld onto the shank a bit too. I like that. And you're going to fish this exactly like you would a deer hair spook. And, I see some guys talking about it online. It's super cool. You can get, almost looks like a little boat bumper. But they're doing like walk the dogs with them and stuff, which is kind of cool. I like that. And I like getting into some new stuff and trying new things out. Anyway, if you live in a place where you can get some really cool top water predator action, if you had a fly for it, I strongly suggest this one, because the guys that I know that are using these, they're in love with them. There's people down in the New England area that are just like, a lot of people are using these, and I think they're becoming quite popular to our neighbors in the South. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, take care.